Hi everybody, my name is Ross Winter and I'm a violin professor at UCF here in Orlando. And in this video we're going to look at one of the excerpts for the upcoming Winter Festival at the turn of the year. In this video we're going to look at specifically the Elgar, the Introduction and Allegro excerpt. If you've already gotten the music, you'll notice there are very few fingerings. There are some that were in the part, but there were few. So I've actually gone through and marked them all. And now would be a good time, if you're going to follow along and practice along with this video, that I would suggest going to download it. And you can do that on my website. I've actually put them there. So if you visit www.rmwstudio.com, under the Learn tab, you'll see a drop-down menu and it will say Winter Festival, and there you can get PDFs with all of the markings that will help you practice along with this video. The other beauty of doing this in a video is that you can pause it at any time and practice any of the little tricks that we're looking at and then come right back to do the next one. Okay, so go ahead and take a minute and download that part. Okay, so the first thing we should talk about is actually tempo. If you've listened to this piece, which I hope you have already, hopefully you have noticed it is not too fast. This should be big and broad and expansive, especially the section where the excerpt is right now. So my suggestion is about a quarter note should equal about 88. Not too quick, just the right tempo where we can really play in the string and big, beautiful, soaring melodies. Right away at the very beginning, you notice we've got a chord. And often in orchestra, as you know, in chords and double stops, we usually divide them inside-outside. In this instance, though, we will play the whole thing. So if you're looking at my part, you notice I have put this in fourth position with 1, 2, and 3. I feel it just sits in the hand better and is actually a little easier to make it sound even more beautiful. Some things about this particular chord, we're not going to roll, one note at a time. We're going to try and play 2 and 2, always going for beautiful tone, even though it's fortissimo and has tenuto. So we're going to think it's bottom 2, top 2, not much pressure because we're already playing multiple strings. It's already going to be loud, but beautiful from the string. That's all there is to it. Okay, what comes right after that, if you notice, are triplets, because that chord comes on B2. The next 6 quarter notes are quarter note triplets. So hopefully you've got a metronome somewhere nearby. I would really, even before you play it, say it. Be able to say that rhythm with the beat. Da, 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 da. So you can really fill up the whole beat with these triplets, the whole 2 beats with triplets. Then actually leaving it on, I would play those quarter notes so you can see how that feels when they're perfectly in time. That's all there is to it. Notice I'm really trying to vibrate everyone as well so that they can feel very, very melodic and not have any standout. So putting that all together, that's it. At the end of this measure, you notice those 16th notes have dots. Yes, they're going to be off the string, but they're not too short, not too pecky. That kind of idea. We want them to have body, so we're going to add more horizontal motion with the bow so that they have a little more fullness, okay? The downbeat of the next measure has a sforzando on it. We're going to feel that as deep with the bow and a little extra love from the left-hand fingers. That kind of sound. Putting those together. All right. Then that whole first phrase. That's all there is to it. The fourth beat of this measure that we're on right now also has a sforzando. It's kind of like the beginning, except it's not a chord, but we're still going to feel that it's very deep in the string. Okay, with a little extra bow speed. Now And notice in this measure, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, the fifth measure of 12, I took advantage of the open string to get us into second position so that the shift to D is very close. We don't really want a big shift there, okay? Same idea with the 16th notes though. Have them have some horizontal motion so they've got body. Then the next bar, look very closely, it is true. This is Sol G, meaning we're gonna go all the way up on the G string for the high B. If we look even closer, he's got a crescendo to fortissimo, and then there's even an accent on the third beat through the tie. So really what's happening is like it's a big swell, and we wanna land on that third beat with the bow. Really feeling it deep in the string. That sensation. Okay, that's going to happen for the next 3 bars. And the next one. Really showing that you know exactly what the dynamic and accent markings are. The measure before 13, do take advantage of those lines on the 8th notes. They are long and full. Really sustained in the bow. Then all of these 16ths have accents, if you notice. We're going to feel those as being kind of fat and heavy, but we don't really want to make them ugly sounding. It's kind of already built into the music. We're just going to think about good articulation and fat bow. At 13, notice it's the exact same idea of Sol G, but with a little bit of a different rhythm. There, we actually get to change the bow on the accent, and it's to fortissimo. So never sacrifice beautiful sound quality for volume, okay? Only go as far as your instrument allows. All right. Then, this is the 4th measure of 13. I would put a crescendo through these descending 16th note arpeggiated figure. Because we're going down, it's typically we'll get a little bit quieter, but we want to drive all the way to the downbeat of the next bar. Really going to the bottom. Okay, so I didn't write that in, but you could write in a crescendo right there. The next bar, notice we have sforzando on the grace note, but then we have a caret on the actual real note, the beat note. Let's think about, even though it's quick, let's think about the sforzando as being heavy in the bow, and the caret being a zing with the bow and even more left hand. Okay? That's kind of the idea. Always adding a little extra when you see those markings in your right hand. 14. Lines on these 16th notes as well. Really broad and big, but in time. We don't want to rush and we don't want to drag. This kind of idea. Really just back and forth, but again, good sound quality. Okay. The 5th measure of 14. Take really good care of this hooked high F sharp 16th note. We really want to feel good articulation up there, and it's in the upper half, so we really have to work for it, okay? But good sound quality again. The next couple of bars, notice I once more took advantage of the open string to get into second position, because this is kind of so wild and frantic that if we had to shift in there somewhere, it probably would start to sound pretty messy, okay? So it's okay right there to take advantage of the open string. Then when we get to these octaves, these we're not going to play, just the top only, okay? Measure before 15. This is quite important. Actually, getting into the measure before 15, we end up with a second finger on E, which is great, but then we have to reach for that high A with 4. So just knowing that it's a true extension of a 4th to get there. So no guesswork, really measure out that extension. Then what I did here in the fingering is we go up to B with 3, exchange the same note with second finger, C sharp with 3, and then a fingered last note. Okay? Most important for this is that it is a retard through the whole thing, which means every note has to get slower than the one before it. Frequently, the last note ends up not getting a retard at all. So make sure that that last A, the note before 15, is truly slower than what came before it. That kind of idea. All right. Big and broad right at 15, but this time we finally get a diminuendo at the end. And let's take advantage of that, okay? At the very end of this page, before we get on to the next page, a true ponticello, really glassy squealy. Even through the forte piano, last measure, of course, not ponticello. All right. Then we get to the second page, which is the fugue that gets tossed back and forth amongst the sections. These really, really sharp, crystal clear articulation is what we're going for. It's also not too fast. A really nice, clean spiccato. That's it. On the string for the 30 seconds that come up each time, because they almost all have a accent. So we make the accent and then you need to think diminuendo coming away. Together. That kind of idea. All right. Measure before 16. This I like this fingering a lot, but we really have to take good care of it once we get into second position on the C's. When we come down, I got to think really light left hand so we don't get a slide. Can you see that? I feel a super light left hand finger, first finger, so they can just pop right into the F sharp. Only last little thing about this section, because it should all be pretty darn quiet, is 2 measures before 17. I would practice this a million times, subdividing all of the long notes into 16ths. For example, that F has how many 16ths? Hopefully you have said 7. So we will actually play 7 F 16ths. We will play 2 E flat 16ths when we get to the end of the bar, 3 B flat 16ths, and 2 A natural 16ths, like this. I'll do it slower. I would do that so many times so that every time you play it for real, you're always hearing that in your head. Dot, 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 dot. Faster. Because that's a really tricky particular rhythm, okay? So those are some tricks for this excerpt from Elgar. Good luck. If you have any questions, you can certainly send me an email. It's on that part that you just downloaded, and I'm happy to help. Good luck with your audition.